Hello, welcome to TFHN News. This video is not for kids, as it is news. There is no cussing or cursing. In the last couple of days, we have seen some major events occur, actually last 2 weeks or so. So, the current update. Recently, we had a situation where LGBTQ Pride members or whatever, or Pride Parade in Idaho was supposedly about to be attacked by a white supremacist group. Problem is, there's questions about them being tied to the FBI as a distraction. This doesn't come as a surprise, as the FBI has been seriously called into questions for their recent actions. A staged fake attack upon Gretchen Whitmer. The whole thing is to create a false flag and to go after people who disagree with the extreme left by the slightest. With that being said, a certain situation happened to a guy, I believe his name is Timothy Dosimer. Guy lives in Washington. He posted a video of him reading out of the Bible about immorality. However, the police decided to arrest him, saying he was threatening to kill LGBTQ. However, he made no actual contents of trying to go out there and attack and set fire or kill any of these members, supposedly, from what I hear. However, I have to get more updates on that information. But apparently they're arresting you if you read the Bible that talks about the evils of sexual morality, which is totally a different story from that. However, they're saying, oh, this is going to be violence upon homosexuals. However, no one's talking about the real violence that's going on in Washington with a high crime rate, such as murder and stuff like that. To the LGBT, I'm not here to sit there and say I condone any violence towards anyone, especially in your guys' community. However, I am going to go ahead and point out that the violent situation is not directed at you. It's just violent criminals are out and loose to go kill anyone. So whether you're LGBT or not, or whatever the heck your denomination or wherever you choose, crime is at an all-time high. And the state of Washington, instead of dealing with the dangers of Antifa and all that, is coming to a very nasty boiling head. Speaking of such situations, a group known as Jane's Revenge has been basically attacking 17 medical clinics. Like I've said before, I'll go ahead and say this. Jane's Revenge is a terrorist organization. Now, to all my tenfolders and those who watch this message I'm going to make to you professional hackers and hackers that are out there. If you can, please dox, get all the information you can on Jane's Revenge, get it all lined up, their acts of violence, their calls for violence, where they've been, any video documentation, whatever you can, get it out there. I highly doubt the FBI is going to do its investigation, but if you're a hacker, it's your time to shine. We need to dox and go after Jane's Revenge. They are, by definition, a terrorist group, very similar to Al Qaeda and ISIL. They have firebombed medical clinics. They're going to use explosives. Then they're going to kill random people. YouTube cannot censor me or Google or say anything else. Jane's Revenge is a proven terrorist group by definitions of the law. They have engaged in acts of violence and have used fire-based explosives. This is something that cannot be ignored. I don't care if you're right or left. I'm not happy when a person sets a bomb to himself and decides to blow up a freaking abortion clinic or blow up a Planned Parenthood. It is not right for them to blow up a group that's helping women who want to keep the kid and let the kid grow. It's not right for them to attack medical clinics. Terrorism is wrong in any fashion. And if you're a hacker, I highly, highly encourage you to get Jane's Revenge docs. The best way to do it is to go through their website, find out their chat rooms, and confirm and do DoD attacks. We want to know everything about their members, where they live, what they do, who they talk to, where they go. You know, get it out there, and then maybe, hopefully, the FBI will do its job, which is unlikely. I'm not saying anything bad, but they're not having a good year. They failed to go after Larry Nasir, who was physically abusing women on the children's gymnastic teams. With that being said, if you are going to hack, make sure that your information is correct. Make sure that you're doing it the proper way. Make sure that there is, without emotion, that it is the correct information. We don't want random innocent people being attacked, but we definitely want to make sure that the people who are actually involved in this group committing these acts of terrorism, this terrorist group, is exposed. They are as dangerous as Al-Qaeda and as ISIS. Continuing to move on, the gun control thing is failing in the Senate, thanks to people calling up their senators and saying, hey, we don't want this, and the pressure is mounting. Red flag laws are being called into question. Twitter has finally won one and has taken the stage as Elon Musk has managed to go ahead and finally pull pull all the BS that was basically taken over Twitter. Elon Musk, the true hero of this situation, has fought for freedom, free speech, and he's using his powers to go ahead, hack, and deny these guys, to basically come down and say, hey, you doxing lives at TikTok, it's got to stop. Outside of that, Taylor Lorenz is no longer allowed. She got demoted according to news media post from Jim the Quartering and Tim Cass IRL. Taylor Lorenz has been demoted. She is no longer to post any articles. They have to be basically seen by an editor and reviewed. She has lost her status. Now people are beginning to push back against journalists who are committing these crimes. As for everything else goes, Elon Musk has made it clear at Twitter he's not going to put up with this attack upon conservatives, and he will ban them. With that being said, a very stunning and very interesting take just occurred. We're still trying to figure out what was the motivation behind Gavin Newsom contacting Truth Social. Gavin Newsom is really trying hard to put a spin on it, but something is not looking nice. He is going to kind of contradict Trump, which is going to be kind of hard because people are beginning to see that he is ultimately responsible for the current situation in California, the current problems in California, and the current overspending in California. Basically, long story short, he is going onto a platform thinks he has a shot. With that being said, the January 6th commissions are beginning to fall apart. It's bad enough they don't have the high enough ratings as they wanted that Americans would be very concerned with the January 6th commission. As it is obvious to everyone who has a brain and lives in the United States and has seen stuff, we really don't care. We're quite mad at the current situation, and the House and Congress has managed to fail the American public. One, keeping hostile leftist groups such as Antifa and BLM, who the organization, not the movement, which there's apparently a difference, are two terrorist organizations that need to be held accountable. However, the Southern Poverty Law Center has basically been protecting them. And I've managed to contact local representatives. I recommend you contact local representatives to shut down funding on all government funding and to no longer use the Southern Poverty Law Center as a basis to decree or declare someone a hate group or a terrorist group without legal proof by a court-ordered judge. If they're getting funding without an oversight, that is a problem. No organization should be getting funding from the United States government without government oversight, meaning they'd have to follow rules and regulations. They are getting money, and they are not funded by the government without government oversight. And because of that, they have created many issues, especially with the Department of Defense, as apparently two people who were criticizing the extreme radical terrorist groups of Islam, Islamic terrorist groups who've been going out there, they went after those people and say, oh, well, these people are Islamophobes. And it's like, no, these people came from an Islamic country that were under Islamic rule and saw and talked about the evils of radical Islamic extremism. Instead, what happened and what you have is where the Southern Poverty Law Center took it upon themselves to declare them that. Now, the Southern Poverty Law Center has been engaging in trying to censor speech by using shadow banning techniques funded by the U.S. government in a UK-British ideology think tank, since they are basically pitting up and trying to find a way to shut down funding for Tim Pool and increase funding for the Young Turks. This, if it's getting government funding, is illegal by the Supreme Court standard ruling, stating that no government entity shall fund or censor speech. Because of this situation, that has created a bigger problem. I am going to work tirelessly to contact my politician, my local health representative, and say, hey, we need to cut funding to the Southern Poverty Law Center. They need to be looked at, and if they are funding stuff, they are in violation. And if I have to, get a court order that blocks their funding, holds 105 employees accountable for any false and liable statements regarding people. The Southern Poverty Law Center has people out of those 105 employees, there's a set number of people who are card-carrying members of the Socialist Party, which, if anyone remembers, in Germany, it was known as the National Socialist, aka the Nazi Party. It is very important that we shut down the Southern Poverty Law Center and have them reevaluate. If they happen to get money from the U.S. government, then it is important that we have government oversight on the Southern Poverty Law Center and put them in the fold to where they have to prove in a court without a doubt that the group that they have declared as a hate group, or persons that they declared as a hate group or radical terrorist, is proven in law. These situations are only going to be made worse by leftist judges, leftist law enforcement, and other crazy things. The biggest thing that I found out today was very interesting. I saw an entire YouTube video about how they were pissed off about a sheriff shooting an individual people who were protesting out. The sheriff says, "You shot an innocent man." According to the news station, he was a man on the run carrying a gun, and the police had fatally shot him. The question is, I'm still waiting for, is the video evidence. Now, I'm not going to comment on that because none of the facts are sitting in my face, nor will I make any statement regarding this. But keep in mind, contact the state of Washington Attorney General, and put in complaints against their AG and tell the AG, hey, why are you censoring speech when you can't take care of crime? Why are you letting crime get out of hand and you're going to arrest somebody who didn't really who's not really making threats, but you let Antifa go ahead and a violent leftist terrorist group like Antifa or the BLM organization itself allowed to go ahead and violently burn down stuff. There is no peaceful burning down or vandalizing of buildings. It's violent. That's how these guys work. And it is time we switch the script. Already we're seeing a crack in the Democrat strongholds, especially in Texas. They have lost faith with the Hispanic community and a lot of other groups because people are tired of it. We don't want communism and we don't want socialism. And as I close out tonight, like, share, and subscribe. Don't do any crime. Be kind and good to another. And to those in the hacking community, please expose Jane's Revenge. This terrorist group must be stopped before they decide to blow up or kill any people at these buildings. They firebombed the buildings. I don't know if anyone was killed, but it's about to get that way. They're probably going to start attacking schools or areas where children congregate. Jane's Revenge has to be stopped at all costs. And if you have the keyboard skills, let's get their pictures, where they live, who they live, what they do, where they work. Let's get it out there. Let's find these guys. Let's get their information so they have no safe space to go to. We can't allow a terrorist group such as Jane's Revenge to freely move around the public if they're going to be doing something like burn and destroy and blow up a hospital. There are lines they're beginning to cross that need to be taken care of. And I don't count on the FBI to do its job. The FBI is concerned into doing one thing: creating racial tensions amongst people. They want people of different colors of skin to fight against each other. That is what the FBI is doing. They're doing evil stuff. So if we can, let's push back. Let's be good and kind to each other. And to the hackers, go after Jane's Revenge. Shut them down. They need to be stopped before innocent children are killed.